As the international audience, when we see through our lens, they think that Palestinian people are Hamas, but which is not true. Hamas is the extremist people.
Western media, and the vast majority of it is part of the Israeli and the Zionist propaganda. The media has succeeded to create the image that Hamas is extremist people and by the militarism. But the other question that if Hamas is extremist, what you gonna call the Israeli occupation?
They told us to evacuate. What do you want me to say? Where are the world's nations? Let them find a solution. Find a solution.
Many of them and official people whom is calling day and night destroy Gaza. Even the elephant is calling to kill them. If this is not the terror, what's the meaning of terror? When it came to the terror, let us remember that two of the Israeli prime ministers for 1948 was wanted terrorists according to United Kingdom. They will call us terrorists, they will call us extremists, they will call us anything, but they will not admit that we are freedom fighter.
Before talking about 7th October 2023, we have to talk about 6th October 2023.
Friday, October 6, 2023. The whole international community, the Israelis themselves, and everyone went to sleep as business as usual. Since the beginning of January 1st, 2023, October 6th, 2023, more than 400 Palestinians have been slain and killed. Did you know about it? No.
Why Trump participated in the war? Why Iran participated in the war? Are they getting anything out of it?
When you said fighting, no, we are not fighting, we are resisting. But they are fighting us. They are fighting with a declared goal to expel us from our homeland. It's a declared goal.
आप लोगों ने बहुत देखा होगा कि पैलेस्टीन की वॉर इजराइल के साथ चल रही है, विच इज़ वेरी पॉपुलर इशू नाउ. तो आपको मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि ये एक ही फादर के दो बच्चे हैं. अब्राहम के दो बच्चे थे, एक से अरब निकलते हैं और एक से जूइश निकलते हैं, और इसीलिए इनकी कॉमन फाइट भी है. अब फाइट कहाँ शुरू होती है उस पर बात करते हैं. एक टाइम था जब जर्मनी में होलोकॉस्ट हो रहा था, तब उस समय इजरायलीज वहां से भाग के कहीं और देश को सेटल करना चाहते थे. तो यूएन ने एक पार्टीशन प्लान शेयर किया जहां पे उनको एक छोटी सी जमीन दी गई जिसपे उन्हें रखा जाए. बट उस जमीन पे उस समय पैलेस्तीनी रहते थे. फिर उन्होंने सोचा कि यहाँ इजरायलियों को बसाया जाएगा, तो इसका मतलब जो पैलेस्तीनी थे उनको उनको लैंड शेयर करना पड़ेगा. अब बहुत लोग ये क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे कि ये लैंड उन्हें क्यों शेयर करना पड़ा. फिर हम हिस्ट्री में जाएंगे जहाँ पे हमें पता लगा कि एक ही फादर के दो बच्चे हैं, तो इनिशियली उस जमीन पे दोनों जूइश और पैलेस्तीनी एक साथ रहते थे. बट एक टाइम आया, ऑटोमन एम्पायर आया, बहुत सारे एम्पायर्स आए, और उस टाइम के बाद वहाँ पे बहुत मेजर सेटलर्स जो हैं पैलेस्तीनी बच गए. बाकी जूइश छोटी मोटी जगहों पे रहने लग गए, बाकी सब वहाँ से छोड़ के चले गए. तो जूइश कहते हैं कि ये हमारा पुराने पुरखों की ज़मीन है, और पैलेस्तीनी कहते हैं जब हम यहाँ बहुत सालों से रहते आए हैं तो आज हमें क्यों निकाला जा रहा है, वो भी एक बड़ी फोर्सेस के द्वारा. तो इसी से इनिशियली वो फाइट बिल्डअप होती है. सो बहुत लोग ये पूछते हैं कि हमास कौन है, हिजबुल्लाह कौन है. सो इसको समझने के लिए आपको समझना पड़ेगा गाजा स्ट्रिप को. एक छोटी सी स्ट्रिप है जिसमें एक इस तरफ इजराइल है, इस तरफ एक वेस्ट बैंक है, उसके उस तरफ लेबनान है. तो इसको समझने के लिए कि कुछ प्रॉक्सीज थी, अपने एजेंडा के लिए काम करती थी. लोग कभी कभी टेररिस्ट भी मार्क करते हैं, बट उनके अपने अपने एजेंडाज होते हैं, देखने का लेंस है, अलग अलग लेंस है. तो जो लेबनान में रहते हैं वो हिजबुल्लाह हैं, जो पैलेस्तीन या वेस्ट बैंक के साइड इस तरफ रहते हैं उनको हमास बोलते हैं. अब हमास को वो लोग टेररिस्ट भी बताते हैं कि भाई टेररिस्ट ने अपने एजेंडा के लिए काम कर रहे हैं. तो इसीलिए एक टाइम ऐसा आया था जब हमास ने अटैक किया इजराइल पे, और इजराइल ने उसके बदले में काफ़ी पैलेस्तीन में बहुत तोड़फोड़ किया, बहुत मिसाइल्स मारे और काफ़ी डिस्ट्रक्शन शुरू हो गया. ऐसे ये वॉर डेवलप होने लग गई. So I think if you want to understand this whole podcast, I just wanted to give you a crux so that you can understand why they are fighting over the land issue, what is their territorial issue. But to understand everything in detail, you have to go back to the history. So अगर आप हिस्ट्री में जाएंगे तब आपको समझ में आएगा कि आज की लड़ाई कितनी हद तक सही है दोनों पार्टियों में, या फिर ये लड़ाई कोएग्जिस्टेंस की होनी चाहिए थी, बट ये लड़ाई केवल वाइप आउट करने की हो गई है, एक रेस को वाइप आउट करने की। सो टू अंडरस्टैंड द लेंस ऑफ पैलेस्टीन अबाउट द इश्यू, आई हैव अ वेरी स्पेशल गेस्ट, बिकॉज़ क्योंकि एक लेंस है ये, दूसरा इज़राइल का लेंस अब इज़राइली बता सकते हैं। To understand this lens, I have a very special guest, His Highness Abu Shawesh. First of all, thank you for being part of Impact Stories.
Thank you so much indeed, Ankit Chauhan, for having me again. It's my pleasure, of course, to receive you today with your, of course, esteemed colleague in my office in the Palestinian embassy.
First of all, a lot of news are going here and there. I really want to understand what is the ground reality of Palestine right now.
Indeed, when we talk about Palestine, and you ask a question that in the macro level, but let us talk about at least what happened in the ground right now in West Bank and the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, and of course in Gaza. When it came to Gaza, after more than 5 months of signing the what so-called ceasefire, the ceasefire is not there. Israel is still killing the Palestinian people in a daily pace, or the fire is still there. And the agreement that had been signed under the auspices or under the leadership of President Trump, more than one condition was put there, and Israel agreed on it. And top of that, of course, ceasefire that I already mentioned. There is no ceasefire. Israel is still killing the Palestinian in the daily pace in Gaza. Then other conditions to allow the humanitarian aid to enter to Gaza in a sufficient amount. When we talk about sufficient amount, before the war, we are talking about 600 truck per days. Up to date, that the people in Gaza is suffering of the more than one issue. When it came to this humanitarian aid, it's not coming in a sufficient amount according to what Israel agreed on it. Prices is skyrocketing in Gaza, and the hunger is still there, not in the same exact way that was before last October, but hunger is still there, malnutrition is still there. Also, when it came to the ground, Israel agreed at that time in last October, in the agreement, to allow the heavy machines to enter to Gaza to remove the rappels and opening the streets. Up to date, there is nothing happened in this regard. Rappels is still there. And when we talk about rappels, we talk about also more than between 10,000 to 15,000 Palestinians who was killed and still under the rappel. And there was, of course, when we talk about the mass destruction, this means that the spread of the rats and all of these type of animals that find that is in a very good situation and very sophisticated situation to live and to multiply. So that one of the main problem that we are enduring and suffering right now in Gaza is the rats and how it spreading a lot of disease. The health issue is still very chronic in Gaza. The vast majority of the health system itself is still collapsed. It is working in the brinks of the survival, not more than that. When it came to the education system, the people already, or Gaza, 700,000 children in Gaza, approximately 700,000 children in Gaza is already lost 2 years of schooling. And when we talk about this is a chronic problem that we will endure it forever. More than 80,000 Palestinian who is in the universities is already lost also 2 years of 2 years of university, and much other problem that we can talk about it in Gaza alone. In West Bank, unfortunately, in a daily pace, the Palestinians endure tens of attacks at the hands of the Israeli Jewish terrorist gangs. When you talk about terrorist gangs, this is not our word. Many of the Israeli officials and former officials also start recognizing the attacks that conducted by the settlers there as terrorist attacks. If anyone review just يدعوت أحرن and Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, in a daily basis, he will find 1 or 2 articles or many news about that, and they call it Sbadi terror attack at the hands of the Israeli terrorists against settlers. In West Bank also more than 500 checkpoints was there before October 7th, and still it was multiplied. We are talking about some statistics talking about 1,000 plus gates with a key that closing the villages in West Bank. And we are talking also on a financial strangulation that measures that Israel is already took to strangulate and bankruptcy the Palestinian economy, so that we are suffering, and that there is a mass suffering when it came to the economic situation in West Bank. Put aside that a lot of laws and measures that laws and bills that already adopted in the Israeli occupation Knesset to exercise, so to speak, the de facto. It's not a declared, but a de facto annexation to West Bank. Traveling from West Bank, exporting, importing, all of these issues in a very devastating situation. And there is tons, of course, of reports that talking about this issue. Israel was talking a lot of measures against the international organizations such as the UN, different entities, the human rights organization and other, to block their entrance and to West Bank and to Gaza, of course. When it came also to Gaza, one very important issue, yet we did not have any single international journalist who came since October 2023 or entered to Gaza. So that, and the same exact situation to some extent is implied on the Palestinian in West Bank.
As far as, if you'll ask me, if I talk about the history, if I see through the lens of Israel, then they say this was our land back in the history. And if I'm not wrong, there was this man called Abraham, the father of both the Arabs and the Jewish. So technically, Jewish and Arabs are children of single father. So why the war is there? Because if they share the same root.
You mentioned two very important things. Yes, the Israelis or the Jewish is claiming that this is the promised land,
right,
not only our land, promised land. Which is, if we back to and allow me to bring the Torah itself, if we go to the Torah that I used to use it all the time, the Holy Book, the Torah, I mean the Holy Book. Yes, it is there, according to the Torah, of course. It is there that the God, according again to the Torah, promised Abram, his name was Abram, times.
Can you understand slowly what Abraham was?
Abram is the God, the father of the Arab and the
Jewish.
Than the Jewish. And the Israelis at large, not the Jewish. Jewish is different than
Israeli.
And Hebrews at large. So Abram was there. He left, according again to the Torah, he left his birthplace, or the Chaldeans in Iraq at that time. Then he came towards Palestine. And when we say Palestine or the land of Canaan, it is written here again and again and again. My title deeds, when I used to talk, you wouldn't find me all the time reading the Torah. Yes, according to the Torah itself. So, and the God in the Genesis, the very first book of the Torah, was gave 4 promises. Sometimes they are calling, because there is a hidden promise to Abraham. Sometimes we used to say 5 promises to Abraham. To you, and the conclusion of the promises is, to you and your descendant I gave this land. Land of Canaan, land of Palestine. All the promises that Abraham have received it before he had his first child, Ishmael. He had 8 children. Ishmael, then after 13 years, he had another child, Ishaq. And after that, when his second wife was died, his first wife was died, Sarai was died, he took another wife called Keturah, and he had another 6 child. So Abraham has 8 child. And all the 8 child, he had them, or he gave birth of them after he got the 5 or 4 promises of the land. So if this is the promised land, and we want, for sake of argument, to accept it, we can accept it, but this is for his 80th child, not only Ishaq. Then the other very important issue. This is a religious book. It cannot be applied on you.
Right.
Cannot be applied on me. This is his God, not my God. What if I am a secular? But even though we can go with even the same exact argument. So Abram had received 4 promises of the land to you and to your descendant. Then he had his second child, Ishaq, and Ishaq had his child, Yaakov. Yaakov means Israel also. And Israel, or Yaakov, had another 12 child. One of them called Judah, whom today the Israelis belong to him, which is Judah and Yahud, or Jewish. Okay. What about the other 11 child? There is an 11 or 10 tribes, Israeli tribes, that yet we did not know where they are went. We did not know whether they are converted, but they are converted to Islam and to Christianity, and the vast majority of them, there is a lot of evidence that saying that they did not live the Middle East, and still their descendant living in the Middle East. So if this is the land of the promised land for Abraham and his child, 2 child, 8 child, so it should be for the Arab and the Israeli at large, or then and the Jewish in the micro level, not on the macro level. And there is another, as I already mentioned, 11 tribes that yet we did not know where is it, but there is a lot of evidence that they had been converted to Muslims and to Christianity. Many of our families, extended family in Palestine, is originally Jew, and they converted to Islam. And when you ask them, you are originally, yeah, they're gonna tell you. And the Israeli know that they are originally Jewish people. The godfather of Israel, Ben Gurion, wrote in his diary, according to the Israeli historian Ilan Babé, wrote in his diary in 1918, the very pure Jewish blood is running in the vein of the Palestinian Fallahin villagers. So if this is the promised land, we need to give it to all. It is the descendant of all Abraham, the Arab, and the Israeli at large. The other very important and very dangerous issue. We are fully assured today that the vast majority of the Israeli is not descendant. They became Jewish by proselytism. I mean by preaching. They converted to Judaism. The vast majority of them, the Ashkenaz, is not descendant of Abraham. According to the genetics, to their genetics, they are Russian people, Khazarian people. And anyone can find this information in the internet. So if this is the promised land for Abraham and his descendant, you are Jewish by conversion, not descendant of Abraham at all. And this is a very pure scientific fact that even them, they cannot deny. Many of the Jewish today is African descendant. So that even those African descendant, I mean the African color, is not descendant of Abraham and Israel. So if this is the promised land for you and your descendant, they are not the descendant of Abraham, they are not the descendant of Jacob, Israel. I mean. In this connection in particular, we used to say and will continue to say, we can accept the argument of this is the promised land to Abraham. All the descendants of Abraham should share the same exact, in the same exact manner, they should share this land. And only the descendant of Abraham, and it's easy to go to the laboratory today to check our DNA, and with all due respect, your DNA and their DNA. And anyone who belongs to this land, to Abraham descendant, he should be part of this land. But anyone who is not a descendant by proof, by the laboratory, is not descendant of Abraham, he should not claim that he is a descendant and he deserved to be here. But again and again, this is a holy book. This is a religious claim, not a legal claim. So even if you want to take it from the other perspective, international law perspective, this is a religious claim. And when it came to religious, a lot of religion scripts is claiming a lot of issue that if we're gonna follow it, we know that it will destroy our future. And I know that some other religion whom is not, is claiming that part of Saudi Arabia is dead. If we follow this claim, then if we follow that someone is claiming that this part in, for example, in India is belong to us because our God is promised us, this means that we will engage in a devastating manner that no one can solve.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So initially there was a settlers of Jewish settlers were also there initially, right? We're talking about history. Jewish used to live on the same land, right? Till the Ottoman Empire, a lot of invaders came, and till the Ottoman Empire, most of the people living there became Palestinian. So where the original Jewish went?
No. When you talk about Jewish, they are not settlers. They are part of the land.
That's
at
what I'm
that time,
saying.
100 years ago,
Right.
all of them
Right.
was Palestinian citizens.
Right.
Even the homes came from Europe. The Ashkenazi Jew, the Khazarian Jew who came
I'm
from
not talking
Europe.
about them.
No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you just one very important. Up to the declaration of the State of Israel, all of them, without any exception, their nationality was Palestinian nationality. Their passport was Palestinian passport. Up to 1948, all of the Jews who came to immigrate to Palestine, their nationality was Palestinian nationality. Before even the Balfour Declaration, before 1917, part of us was the Jewish people. Likewise here, you in India. You are Indian, but part of you is Muslim, part of you is Sikh, part of you X, Y, and all of this stuff. So that this is the fabric of our society. Even before the Balfour Declaration, part of us was Jewish, part of us was Christian, part of us was Muslims. So this is the fabric. This is our fabric as a Palestinian society.
Okay.
And we used to live like this thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago. It's not only in Palestine. In Egypt, you're going to find the Christian, the Muslims, the Jew, before 1948, I mean, before the establishment of the State of Israel. In Iraq and everywhere, you're going to find the Jewish is part of our Arab
fabric.
society. No, it's part from Morocco till Iraq. You're going to find the Jew there, Arab Jew. And all of them was very, because they are minority everywhere as a religion, not as a nationality. So that they used to invest heavily in their education, in the banking system, and
Right.
so in Iraq, for example, before 1948, before up to 1960, the whole entire Iraqi economy was at the hand of the Iraqi Jew.
If they are minority, if the Jewish were minority back then, till now, till you're saying that there were a lot of people who used to live in the harmony with each other, right? And Jewish were minority in Palestine.
Jewish is minority in Palestine. Jewish is
Right,
still minority in United States.
I'm coming to the
because
question.
The whole entire Jewish is 17 million
100%.
worldwide.
I'm coming to the question. Are those people who used to live with harmony with Palestinian people, the Jewish people, the minority people, is happy with what is going on in the country or not?
No, when you talk about, because you mean the new generation,
Yeah.
the third or fourth generation, they became part of the Israeli system after more than 70, 80 years of brainwashing.
That's
of
what
them.
my question
Yes, of course, they became part of the Israeli. Not only this, many of the Arab descendant Jew, unfortunately, because they had been isolated by the Khazarian Jew, by the Ashkenazi Jew in 1960s, 1970, they had been treated as not only as Arab descendant, they used to treat them as Arab, pure Arab, so that they felt that they want to say that we are Jewish, likewise you, so that many of the extremist people, unfortunately, is Arab descendant. is Arabic descendant today in Israel. Many of the extremists and in the Israeli society is from the Arab descendant. But of course, at the very beginning, the first generation who was enforced to expelled from Iraq, and when I talk to be, when I say that enforced to expel, it was enforced by the Israeli surveillance and by the Israeli government itself. And if you want a lot of proof about that, Avi Shlaim, you can write his name, Avi Shlaim, one of the Israeli Arab descendant, he is a descendant from Iraq, wrote a lot of books about how the Israeli themselves is building a lot of explosive material in Egypt and in Iraq too, to trigger them the problematic issue between the Arab and the Muslims, the Christians from one side and the Jewish from the other side, that to expel the Jewish from Iraq and Egypt. And the very famous example or scandal, it's Lavon scandal in Egypt, when they discovered, the Egyptian discovered that there is a terrorist Jewish organization was planted a lot of explosive material against the Jewish, the Egyptian Jewish, to expel them from Egypt.
As the international audience, when we see through our lens to Palestine, sometimes people, for them it's very hard to, they think that Palestinian people are Hamas and Hamas are Palestinian people. They think them as a single entity, but which is not true. Hamas is the extremist people and the rest of the people are the normal people who want peace in the country.
I did not agree with you when you said Hamas is extremist and the other.
I just want to understand from your lens.
I know. But this is my responsibility to correct.
Correct.
But the media, unfortunately, or the Western media in particular, does controlled Western media, the Zionist Western media. And when I talk about the media, the Western media is complicit, and the vast majority of it is part of the Israeli and the Zionist propaganda. I'm not revealing a secret, and this is not anti-Semitic because I'm a Semitic person. So, but the media succeeded to create the image that Hamas is extremist people, and no one can. But by any way, it's not easy to change this image in India and other places, that they are the extremist people and the other is normal. No, Hamas part of the Palestinian fabric. Likewise, I used to say that. Likewise, 100 years ago, mid-1930s, there are two schools of thought how to become free in India. One of these school of thought is the Mahatma Gandhi school of thought, peaceful resistance and all of this stuff. And the other school of thought was Bhagat Singh and his colleagues, of course, the great martyr Bhagat Singh, who believed that the only way to become free is to resist by the military resistance. And this is the same exact case. You will find it everywhere for any society had been felt under the colonial and foreign occupation. All the time, people is believing that only the military resistance, and other people, likewise President Abbas, is fully believing that the only way is the peaceful resistance, social resistance, and all of this stuff. So when it came, yes, unfortunately, the media was succeeded, the complicit media was succeeded to divided us to two type of people, extremist people. But the other question that if Hamas is extremist, what you gonna call the Israeli occupation? If Hamas or other Palestinian faction is a terrorist organization, how could you describe the Israeli occupation itself? If they are terrorist organization, how could you describe the source of the problem? How could you describe issuing of Balfour Declaration, which sowed the seed of all our misery? In this declaration, someone, the British, whom had zero footprint in our homeland at that time, pledged, gifted our homeland to the Khazarian Jew. What could you call this declaration if this is not the source of the terror worldwide? What is the meaning? How could you identify the terror? So if there is a source if there is any seeds for the terror in the Middle East, it was so by the British. It was the British declaration of Balfour Declaration. Then, if the expelling of the Palestinian people from their homeland, if the ethnically cleansing of the Palestinian from, because I born in a refugee camp, my late father was born in our original village, Berga. If this is the expelling of them is not a terror, what is the exact definition of the terror? If killing 74,000 Palestinians in Gaza is not a terror act, what is the exact meaning of terror? If someone is calling day and someone's not one, many of them, and official people whom is calling day and night to destroy Gaza, to expel the Palestinian people from their homeland, to kill them. If they calling to kill our child, the infant, even the infant is calling to kill them. If this is not the terror, what's the meaning of terror? When it came to the terror and extremists, let us remember that two of the Israeli prime ministers, one of them called Menachem Begin, and the other is Hak Shamir. Two of them became Israeli prime minister. Two of them, before 1948, was wanted terrorists according to United Kingdom, according to the British at that time. When we talk about United Kingdom, I mean the godfather of creation of Israel. But even though the godfather of the creation of Israel classified both of them as a terrorist and wanted terrorists, they were wanted terrorists before 1948. Then they became the prime minister of Israel. So we should know that the Israelis occupation, the British colonization here, will not going to admit our resistance, your ancestor resistance at that time as a legitimate act against their colonial or as a legitimate act against the Israeli occupation. They will call us terrorists, they will call us extremists, they will call us anything, but they will not admit that we are freedom fighter or someone who's looking for his freedom. The same exact issue was applied in your ancestor just less than 8 years ago. If they did not call them a terrorist, like was Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh, for example, was accused of being terrorist, and he was executed according to their belief that he was a terrorist person. The other issue that we should remember it in 1919 here in India, Jallianwala. That, do you remember it?
Yeah.
Do you as Indian remember this?
100%.
You know what happened to the British commander who
Mr. General Dyer.
Okay, how did they how did they treated him? They did not even call him a terrorist. They did not even call him extremist. They did not. He act out of order. This is the only accused, but he did not train. Do you know that? Do you know how much respect that he had been received in London? They call for a financial support to him. Not the official, I mean the public. And they collect to him 26,000 pounds, millions of dollars today, at that time. And when they ask him why you did so, he said, I want to teach them a moral lesson. He is not extremist, according to them. The same exact issue, but you are the extremist. You at that time, Bhagat Singh, and not only extremists and terrorists, so that it depends who gonna classify.
Let me come to this. You're saying that it's two lens. From which lens somebody is watching?
Absolutely.
It's the reality. Let me come to that. Honorable Netanyahu is accused of funding Hamas at the same time. So we cannot compare Hamas with Bhagat Singh. If I'm making a correct statement here.
You said Honorable Netanyahu, yes?
Yeah.
It's yours. But Netanyahu, according to the international law now, is fugitive from justice. He's a wanted person. Do you know that? According to the international law.
Agree.
But even though you said Honorable Netanyahu, in some places some people is used to give him the red carpet. So again, it depends to the lenses. How did you see the issue? International law is classifying him as not honorable. He's a fugitive from international justice. This is his exact When it came to compare Hamas to Bahagat Singh, I'm not saying to compare, I'm telling you just the examples. And I give you more than one example. The commander who ordered the killing of approximately 1,000 Indian, and how they treated him. But when it came to Hamas and who's funded Hamas, this should not be the first question. The first question should be who created Hamas?
Let's go on that question then.
It's Israel. Do you want me to repeat it? The one who created Hamas. And before it became called Hamas, it was the Islamic League. The one who created the Islamic League is Israel. And they're going to tell you why and how. Mid-1970, in particular 1974, the Arab and the international community acknowledged Palestine Liberation Organization as the sole and legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. They accuse that Israel used to use it since 1948. We want peace, but there is no one we could sit to the table to negotiate in behalf of the Palestinian people. When the Arab and international community and India is one of the very first country to acknowledge and to admit and to recognize the PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization, and as the sole and legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, when the international community recognize it, there is no excuse for Israel. Someone here now is to sit to negotiate in behalf of the Palestinian, but Israel did not want to negotiate. So it gave the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, which became Hamas, or the Islamic League in Gaza at that time, the permission to start to become active in Gaza to counter the PLO and the West Bank, of course, but mainly in Gaza. Mid-1970, they start and they gave them the permission. And all this information in Google, you did not need to. You did not need to go to read a lot of books. Just ask who created the Hamas, who established Hamas, who gave them the permission, for the Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza, mid-1970. That's Israel. But by the first Intifada, this did not mean that Hamas is cooperating with Israel, but Hamas was created to counter the PLO project, and still up to today is countering and stand strong against the PLO project, Hamas. But this is not the end of the story. Since 2007, when Hamas succeeded to topple the Palestinian Authority and to expel it from Gaza, the one who will stand strong to support this rift between the Palestinian people, the one who was loud and clear, used to call for, if anyone wants to defeat the idea of the two-state solution, he should support Hamas in Gaza, is the current Israeli Prime Minister, the current fugitive from justice, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He is the one who called for the Qatarian, and this is an official issue, it's not hidden. It's not media, you can find it. He asked the Qatarian to support Hamas in Gaza, $30 million per month.
How it came?
They used to came in cash money, because no one will accept to allow, you will not find any banking system accept to work with Hamas at all. The cash money from Qatar used to land in Ben Gurion Airport. Ben Gurion Airport is a Palestinian airport, do you know that?
Yeah,
for 1948, it was called Villid. Up to 1973, after the dying of the godfather of Israel, Ben Gurion, they named it after him. But up to 1973, it was Ben Gurion Airport was called Al-Lid Airport, and it was a pure Palestinian airport. But anyhow, so the Qatarian cash used to come from Qatar to Al-Lid Airport, Ben Gurion Airport, and used to go with the official permission by the current, again, fugitive from justice, the Israeli Prime Minister, by suits, by cash. It was escorted by the military officials and the security official, the Israeli security, to hand it over to Hamas in Gaza. It's a fact, you can find it. Another source of funding Hamas was the electricity bill. We used to import the electricity bill from the electricity to West Bank and Gaza from Israel. In Gaza, Hamas collect the money from the people. And the one who's paying the bill to Israel is the Palestinian Authority. When we discuss this issue with, again, the current Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he refused to cut the electricity. And he refused to enforce Hamas to collect money, to pay him the money. He said, no, you should pay it. We told him we did not want to pay. No, it's not your choice. Because the money, our money, the tariff money, and the tax money, it used to be collected on the Israeli border. When we used to import our product and pay the tariff on it and the taxes, we used to pay it likewise everyone in the borders, in the seaport and the airports. So Israel is collecting the money, and Israel used to dedicate in a monthly pace, millions of dollars from our money as a Palestinian National Authority and Hamas instead of the electricity bill, and Hamas used to collect this money from the people there to fund itself. So the one who supported Hamas, stand strong to support Hamas, is Israel, and again the current and all other current Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This information is there. I'm not revealing a secret. You can find it in Google. Just check this information, check the validity of this information here.
So why then on 7th October 2023, Hamas attacked Israel? Why?
No, this is another question. No, but you cannot, when you talk about Hamas, and I already told you that Hamas is not in the pocket of Israel at all. I told you Hamas was created by Israel, but it was not and will not be in the pocket of Israel. It was created because the Israeli believed that if you create another, because they did not, and to make the story short, because they did not believe of the peace itself.
Two-state solution.
No, they did not be, and this is a declared position. This is not our position. This is a declared position even before October 7th.
Okay.
The Israeli position is totally, utterly against the current Israeli position, and the previous Israeli position is totally, utterly against the two-state solution. And one of the pretexts that he took it, Benjamin Netanyahu himself, to support Hamas is to prevent the establishment of a state of Palestine. It was declared position. But why Hamas? Because sometimes questions very important how to articulate. Hamas is attacked Israel because Hamas is not part of the Israeli agenda. Hamas has its own agenda, of course.
And what is that?
The military agenda, military resistance, 100%.
Okay.
I don't know. We cannot say because they are, it's not, Hamas was not and will not be in the pocket of Israel. Might be their agenda when it came to the Palestinian Authority, two-state solution, and all of this stuff must be met together, because none of them want the Palestinian Authority. None of them want the establishment of State of Palestine. The Israeli, I mean, themselves.
And there's one very important question before talking about 7th October 2023, we have to talk about 6th October 2023.
Yes.
Which nobody knows.
Not only 6 October. How many is 7 October in the Israeli life? 7 October, yes. But since 1917, the issuing of Balfour Declaration up to 2023, we have 105 7 October. Anyone know about this, the misery of the Palestinian?
Can you go through it?
I can tell you, but it's not only 7
I really
October.
want to understand what was the
October
real,
6, for example, Friday, October 6, 2023. The whole international community, the Israeli themselves, and everyone went to sleep as business as usual. But what happened to the Palestinians? 6 Palestinians has been slaughtered. Anyone, does this make any news in any screen? No. Since the beginning of January 1st, 2023, up to October 6th, 2023, more than 400 Palestinians have been slain and killed. Does this make any news? Did you know about it? 1.4 million Indian here. Did they know about this issue? No. because our life is very cheap. Likewise, sorry to say that, your life, your ancestor life 100 years ago is very cheap. Just we recently start to realize that there are between 35 to 45 million Indian was being killed due or died due to the British colonization. But yet, how many one know about these figures? How many one, even in India, with all due respect, from the new generation know about all of these figures? One of those Palestinians whom was slain in 2023 is Muhammad al-Tamimi, 2.5 years old. I know his father, I know his family, I know their homes because they are, I'm very close to a friend training. 2.5 years old. Could anyone justify his killing? Could anyone justify the killing of Shireen Abu Aqla? Anyone justify the killing? Do you know that? And I can show you many of the videos that show how the Israeli soldier used to kill the Palestinian children, in particular, to snap them, to have some video for their social media platform. Anyone know that? Do you know how many Palestinians after, and I will not going to talk about Gaza, just recently, how many Palestinians had been killed at the hands of the Israeli terrorist gangs, terrorist settlers in West Bank? Tens of Palestinians. But does this make any news? Could you imagine none of those settlers used to be jailed or used to be investigated even after he killed any Palestinian? None of them. None of them. None of them used to be jailed or investigated or stand to any trial at all. This is the life. Before October 7th. The other question that no one asked, because the international community, especially the hypocrisy and the double standard, I mean the Western country, I'm not revealing a secret when we talk about this. When they start talking about October 7th and nothing justified October 7th. Fair enough. If you want to go with nothing of the Palestinian misery to justify the military resistance or October 7th, it's fair, but you should complete your sentence. And October 7th does not justify the killing of 74,000 Palestinian, innocent Palestinians. 2/3, the vast majority of them is women and children. You cannot say that nothing justified and full stop. And October 7th did not justify the killing of the massacre, the genocidal war, the life-stream genocidal war that all of you watch it to some extent. When I say watched it to some extent, I mean it, because there is no journalist, more than 65 journalists in Gaza has been targeted, not killed. There is a big difference between targeting them or kill. Killed mean by chance, but targeted by intention. So before October 7th, there is tens of October 7th that we endure as a Palestinians. In a daily pace, we used to be in, since 2000, the second Intifada, up to October 6th, 2023, more than 25,000 Palestinians have been killed. Does anyone know about this number? No. Because our life is, according to the Israelis, according to the extremists, not to all the Israelis, of course, and according to the extremists, and according to the vast majority of the Western media and the complicit Western media, this is meaning nothing. It's not only our life, and many lives in the southern country.
Even you that day asked me the question that if you visit or happen to meet any Palestinian, ask them how many family members you lost in the war.
Absolutely. I used to say that when you...
They will never deny it. Everybody will say yes.
No. In Palestine, you cannot ask anyone whether you lost some of your relative or not. For me, for example, you cannot. Yes. This is not the right question. It should be how many. For every single Palestinian, how many of your loved ones you lost, not only during this war, before this war, in the first Intifada, before the first Intifada, in 1948, before 1948. The misery is there. The killing of the Palestinian people, even before the establishment of a state of Israel. Tens of massacres had been conducted against the Palestinian people before 1948. When they declared the establishment of Israel, more than many hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who already been expelled and ethnically cleansed from their villages in Palestine. So the killing of the Palestinian losses of our life is there.
Even you mentioned you lost a lot of family.
I've just less than 3 months ago, I lost 17 of my family in one shot and one missile, one American missile, of course. The vast majority of them is children. And to be very frank, they are all of them is communists, leftist people, not Hamas. But the killing of the Palestinians, something, some of the Palestinian, and it's a fact, and I'm gonna show you one of these books, is used to be killed just to test some Western weapons and the new Israeli weapons. Do you know that? There is in a book here, I'm gonna show you once we finish. Palestine, the laboratory, something. It was written by a Jewish journalist, investigator journalist. He talked about this issue long time before the war. Yes, many of the Palestinians, and they use, when they used to go to the to marketing their new weapons, they used to use our videos. In this war, they themselves published tens of videos about how the drones is targeting and killing the Palestinians. They themselves not read. They used to show us how their drones is targeting and killing and bombing the Palestinians. I'm gonna share with you some of these videos. So we use, even in this war, used to be killed because someone already invented some weapons. And when I say someone, I mean it. Some of the Western countries sends many of their new technology, death technology to be tested in Gaza. And the Israelis themselves, they used to be tested their death technology, destruction technology in Gaza. And the Americans themselves send many of it is their weapons, they call it sophisticated weapons, clever weapons to be tested in Gaza.
If I see it from the wider lens, let's say, here Israel and Palestine is fighting with each other for many long years. Let's say from the wider lens, why Trump participated in the war? Why Iran participated in the war? Are they getting anything out of it? Is it for the benefit? If I see from the wider lens.
When you start by saying Palestinian and Israeli fighting against each other, when you say fighting, this means that there are two equivalent, two very powerful powers standing.
Not,
but that's because wording. No, Israel is launching a war against the Palestinian people long time ago, and the one who started this war again is the United Kingdom by issuing the Balfour Declaration. So there is a war, there is a battles. What we are enduring since 2020, you can call it a battle out of the global war that was launched against the. We are resisting the Israeli occupation, not fighting. They are fighting and they are killing us, but we are resisting them. And there is a big difference.
Not fighting back.
No. Well, fighting back, you can call it fighting back, but we fight against each other. They launched the war. They are fighting us. They are killing us. They have the modern weapons. They have the aircraft. They have everything. And we have nothing.
We cannot keep talking.
No, we have nothing. You cannot compare the two.
You cannot call it an equal battle.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And this is the international law.
That's what I'm asking. Is it the wider lens?
We are resisting the Israeli.
Maybe that's the right word, but
they are killing the Palestinian people. 100%. We are resisting the Israeli occupation.
Right.
We acknowledge the right of Israel to exist.
Right.
They deny our right as a Palestinian people. Even they are denying our existence. Someone is called, the vast majority of them today is saying that there is no such thing called a Palestinian people. And one of them, who's not Israeli, but he's very fanatic, of course, he's called himself as a pastor. He's the American ambassador to Israel. When he said that there is no such thing called a Palestinian people. So that we, from our side, acknowledge the right of Israel to exist. We sign Oslo Accord, but in the other part, they did not even realize or want to acknowledge that we are exist as a Palestinian people. So wording have a meaning when you said fighting. No, we are not fighting, we are resisting. But they are fighting us. They are fighting to expel us. They are fighting with the declared goals to expel us from our homeland. It's a declared goal. I'm not revealing a secret. They declared, and Netanyahu, the fugitive from justice last September, from the podium of the United Nations General Assembly, said something no one except the Palestinian know the exact meaning of it, which is we will finish the job. Finish the job is the password that they use it, or the real equivalent word of expelling and ethnically cleansing the Palestinian people. In 1948, they expelled the vast majority of us and ethnically cleansed us. But the Israeli today believe that Ben Gurion, the chairperson, the godfather at that time of the creation of Israel, had the opportunity at that time to completely ethnically cleanse the Palestinian from the historical land of Palestine, from the river to the sea. But he did not finish the job. This is how did they call it. He did not finish the job. It's time to finish the job. So they are not fighting. They want to finish the job according to their belief. And he declared this in the United Nations General Assembly. He know that no one will realize what did he mean. But he know that his people knowing exactly what did he mean, and the Palestinian knowing what did he mean. They declare, it's a declared position. Expelling the Palestinian, ethnically cleansing the Palestinian people is a declared position. And what all the measures, all the policies that they are taking it right now, whether it is in Gaza or in West Bank, is to complete or to finish the job, expelling the Palestinian people from their historical land. This is the issue that we unfortunately did not have the opportunity to tell the people, the opportunity to expose ourselves, to tell our story.
Again, my question a little halfway done. I'm saying, if I see from the wider lens, what is US President Trump, Mr. Trump is getting out of this war? What is his benefit? Why he came into the war?
Which war? With Iran?
Yeah. With obviously it's like something.
No, with Palestine. Why them? But to be very frank, it was not started when Trump was there in his office. It was started again long time ago, 105 years before October 7, the war itself. But even the current battle, the current war, genocidal war, was started during his predecessor, Biden, and he's the one, Biden, who's fully backed the Israel.
Even a lot of people don't know about it. That's what I'm.
No. It was before Trump. But when Trump assumed his office, the very first declaration that he's declared it, that he gonna take Gaza. And when he asked by which right, he said by the American right. And when he asked, it was there. It was published. This is his wording.
He want to make some infrastructure there.
Yeah, okay. What about the 2.3 million Palestinians? They should be left or be expelled to Egypt and Jordan. And what you gonna do of Gaza? It's a very nice place. They have a very nice beach. We're gonna convert it to Middle East Riviera. So Trump himself declared it's not a plan. It was declared according to the international law. It is a declared war crime against the Palestinian people since the very first day that he assumed his office. Real estate man, he want to take 365 square kilometer to convert it to Rivera, to convert it to places, to benefit, to financially benefited from it. So this is how did he start his second tenure. Why he engaged in this war, whether it is in Gaza or against the Palestinian. What about the war against the Palestinian in West Bank? His representative in West Bank, in Israel, his representative, his ambassador, is a pure Zionist person. He declared his position. There is no such thing called a Palestinian people. There is no such thing called a settlement. It's real community. It's Israeli community. It's legal community. So Trump or his representative is declaring a war crimes against Palestinian people since day first he assumed his office. And in his previous even term, he took a lot of move against the international law itself.
Yeah.
First and foremost, of course, is moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. It's totally, utterly against the international law.
But
They are part of this war. We cannot call them a complicit. They are part of this war. And according to the Associated Press, I think just a few months ago, not more than 5 months ago, one of it is Associated Press, of course, American organization for the media, of course. They declared that United States of America is paid Israel money, and I mean military assistance, $30.7 billion. Direct assistance, military assistance, or indirect in the Middle East during just the last genocidal war. $30.7 billion. Part of the war. Why? What is the benefit of that behind the war? As I said, he was very optimistic to take Gaza to convert it to the Riviera, and this is a real estate project for him. Yes, he did not now insist in this issue, but still, you need to monitor and to review whom is benefiting from the war. Wars worldwide.
sometimes it's benefit.
No, all the time there is people who is benefiting from the war.
100%.
100%, billions of dollars, because by the end of the day, any missiles will be, any bullet mean money. And who's producing these bullets? Who's producing these missiles?
Israel?
To some extent, but many also other companies in the United States of America and British in Germany, many companies benefiting from the war. One of the most important reports that I strongly advise anyone to back to it was published by Albanese, the United Nations special rapporteur on the Palestinian territory, I mean, which said she issued a report called Economic of Genocide, just maybe less than 1 year ago. And she talked about the economy of the genocide and who is benefiting from the genocide in Palestine. So just you need to monitor how many won during the recent war with Iran, on Iran, how many won in America who was benefited from the declaration that every single day there is 2 or 3 declaration or tweet in Twitter or social or something like this. And who's benefiting from those?
Yeah, we even saw the fluctuation in the international market also.
Absolutely. There is people knowing that what he will go to publish, what he will go to, so that they can expect the market fluctuation, they can expect the market flow, and they're gonna take their financial decision based on the decision that will be declared in 1 hour, 2 hours. Billions of them. I'm not revealing a secret. All of these issues there.
Yeah.
The media is talking about it.
I know.
I'm not expert in the American financial market, but this is the media who's talking about this issue and talking about how many of their families who is in the position to decision to making the decisions, how many of their family members benefiting from the war. Indirect, of course, and many, of course, direct.
So I think a lot of people know that Iran also came into the war, right, with the US and Israel. But why they want to fight just to the nearly, what do you call, UAE people, rather than just fighting back to the US and straight away?
Iran started the war.
100%.
By default.
By default.
Which is not true. The one who started the war against Iran is the United States of America, and it was not started only 40 days or 2 months ago. Iran under the US siege since 1979.
Okay.
Do you want more to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
deep in history?
Yeah.
Iran was elected one of its brilliant prime minister mid-1950s. Then the Western country come out to topple their elected prime minister. And the Western country accused him, or this elected prime minister was hanged to death in mid-1950s because the Iranian elected him. So the Iranian was under the Western war long time ago.
Okay.
Mid-1950s. Then in 1979, Iran came under the U.S. siege, U.S. blockade, U.S. call it what you would like to call, up to date. And recently, U.S. and Israel launched a war against Iran. Not Iran launched the war against them. This is factually speaking. I'm not revealing a secret. This is the fact. Second, yes, Iran unfortunately miscalculated the issue and attacked many of the places in the Arab world, especially, I mean, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, in Dubai, and in other places. This is something that is utterly, completely condemned from Palestine, from the Arab world, and other issues. But why does not attack United States of America? Because United States of America is very far. But it is completely and well known that Iran attacked many of the U.S. bases in the Middle East. So that you cannot say that Iran did not attack. No, Iran attacked already. Some of them, many or some, I did not know, I'm not have the exact figure, of the U.S. bases in the Middle East. And of course, Iran attacked by launch many missiles against Israel and attack it. This is the fact. But we cannot say that Iran come to the war. No, the U.S., the Western country come to punish the Iranian mid-1950s because they have their own election, fair election, and they elected someone that he declared he will go to liberate and to free their economy. So that he was punished by the Western country and he had been hanged to death even at that time.
As we know about the ceasefire, right? Do you think this will bring back the peace in the land or not?
No, ceasefire is completely different from peace.
Because we saw that after once everything got announced, but still Israel launched a war against Lebanon also, say that we want to evacuate, we want to eliminate Hezbollahs, right? So I think on the global scale, we can't see ceasefire, and on the...
More than one issue. First and foremost, there is no ceasefire, even in Gaza, and as I've already mentioned, that they agreed in the ceasefire, but the fire is still there, and in a daily basis, there is tens of Palestinians. I will not go into, in a weekly basis, there is tens of Palestinians used to be killed. More than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed since the declaration of the ceasefire last October. This is first. Second, yes, Israel is not short of the excuse. Yesterday was Hamas, today is Hezbollah, and so on and so forth. But the ceasefire will not stop as long as the Israeli themselves declaring their goals. And their goal was very clear. When it came to the Palestinian people, they want to expel them from their historical land. It's it's the declared position.
They will not stop.
It's a declared position. And I already said that, and day and night, they used to say that, to expel the Palestinian people from Gaza, West Bank, and from the river to the sea. And I already mentioned that the fugitive from justice said that he will go to finish the job. And I already explained this. Second, there will not be peace and security in the Middle East as long as Israel, the Messianic people whom is guiding Israel, is believing of the biblical land of Israel, supported, of course, by many of the evangelical Christians from the worldwide. And top of them, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, who was loud and declare in his recent interview with Tucker Carlson, the American journalist, when he said it will be good to have it, I mean, the biblical land of Israel, which is again a declared position by the current Israeli prime minister, to have the biblical land. And he declared that he feel that he's in a dividend mission to establish the great Israel, the biblical Israel, from the Nile River to Euphrates, sea, river in Iraq, which means that they will going to occupy part of half of Egypt, North Saudi, the whole entire Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and part of Iraq. So this is a declared position. How come there will be a ceasefire, there will be a peace, while their position, the declared position, is this devastating position? The excuse is there, Hezbollah. Then after Hezbollah, or at least they declared their position. Naftali Bennett, the opposition leader, declared his position if he will be in the after they will finish or get rid of the Shia axis, they will start with the Sunni axis: Turkey, Egypt, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. They declared it. It's a declared position. It's not a hidden position. It's a declared Israeli position. After they will get rid of Iran, they will start with Turkey, Egypt, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, the Sunni axis. So there will be no ceasefire. And if they get rid of Hamas, and if they get rid of Hezbollah, they will start talking about Turkey, Qatar, and all of this stuff.
If you say that he go out in the open and talk about these kind of things, Mr. Prime Minister of the
and
Israel,
the Naftali Bennett,
yeah.
all of them.
Yeah. If they talk out in the open about these kind of matters.
It's not if, they already talk.
Okay.
Because when you say if, this means that you are skeptical. No, it's a declared position.
Okay.
From the Naftali Bennett, from Israeli Prime Minister, from the US ambassador to Israel.
Okay. So why don't international community come forward and stop this?
No, this is a big question and other issue, because the international community had been treated or to be silent long time ago, because anyone used to come out to criticize Israel. Israel adopted a lot of measures, and top of that, of course, the anti-Semitic slogan. So anyone, if you, Ankit, come to criticize Israel, you will be accused of being anti-Semitic directly. And anyone accused of being anti-Semitic, he will lose his future. Anyone will be accused of stand against Israel, he will lose his future, especially in the Western country. And let me tell you something is personal. I used to have a lot of communication with my American colleagues and other colleagues, European colleagues in the United Nations when I was there for 8 years. Many of them used to say, listen, Abdullah, don't lecture us about morality, international law, and all of this. I have pens. By the end of the month, I should pay my pen. And I'm an employee. So I cannot. This is not related to the international law, to the right, to the logical. I have pen. Period. So Israel developed these type of tools to stifle. Anyone, any voice can come out to criticize Israel, so that no one can dare to criticize Israel, because he will be cornered as anti-Semitic. He's not or terrorist for us, for the Palestinian, all of us, even the infant one who was born just 1 hour ago, he's a terrorist, and he will grow to be a terrorist. If he is a Jewish and criticize Israel, he will be accused of hate self-Jew. If you criticize them, you will be accused of being anti-Semitic. Even we, the Palestinian and the Arab, when we used to criticize them, they used to call us anti-Semitic, while I'm the original Semitic people. The vast majority of them is not related to the Semitic race at all. The Ashkenazim, the Khazarian is not Semitic. But even though they succeeded to build in everyone's mind, and you, born and raised, to know that anyone anti-Semitic mean anti-Jewish. Yes, it's a fact. You believe that the word anti-Semitic is mean anti-Jewish, so that the only Semitic people is the Jewish people. Yes or not? It's the fact. You born to believe of that, but it's not true. 7 race. The Semitic people is 7 race. Arab, Akkadian, Syrian, Amhara and Tigray in Ethiopia, and the Palestinian, the Canaani, and of course, the Hebrews, and the old Hebrews, which mean part of them is the Jewish. The Semitic use of that. Anyone is being accused of being anti-Semitic, this means that he's anti-Arab, anti-Israelis, and Hebrews, Amhara, anti-Tigray, anti the 7 race of the Semitic people. But again, they succeeded to build in our mind, to trap us, to trap the international community, to believe Semitic people is only the Jews. So yes, the international community did not move, did not took any steps to stop Israel. The international community, on top of that, of course, the Western country is completely, you can accuse them without any blind of your eyes of the hypocritical, and using the double standard. Imagine they imposed 30,000 different type of sanctions against Russia because of the war with Ukraine. 0 sanctions against Israel. Day and night they are talking about the illegality of the Israeli settlement, but the Israeli settlement product is flooding their shelves in the Western country and other places. Hypocrisy, double standard. This is the position, unfortunately, of the international community. Even though there is a lot today, there is a lot to complete the picture, there is a lot of criticisms coming from Western country, and there is a lot of calls from Western countries, Spain having a strong position against Israel, Israeli occupation, not Israel, against the Israeli occupation of the system. We start hearing a lot of voice, even in America itself.
Yeah.
Among the new generation.
Right.
To criticize Israel and to tell them, stop, you cannot accuse me of being anti-Semitic because I'm criticizing the Israeli occupation. Strong voices coming. But recently.
Is Israeli Prime Minister also gaining out of this? Or is he doing out of revenge because his brother also died through the hands of Palestinians?
Absolutely, absolutely. More than one motive.
Do he believe in the cause, or he do want to remain in the power so that he'll not go behind the bar with his family?
What the meaning of cause? What is the cause that he believe of it that lead him to kill, to conduct a genocide? What is the cause that can lead any human being to kill the others because he have a cause? There is no cause can justify killing that people. No, the current Israeli prime minister have more than one interest. Of course, one of it is to continue to be in power because this is a self-issue. And being in power, he had been accused and still betrayed. And there is a lot of accusation against him. And if he lose his immunity, this means that the investigation will continue and most probably he will be jailed, and his wife. According to the Israeli media, most probably he and his wife and even his son, all of them to be jailed because there is a lot of cases against them in them. The other issue, yes, his brother was killed in mid-1970, and so that he have a special revenge. His father was one of whom is battling day and night against the Arab, against the Muslim, against the Palestinian. He was one of them very vocal voice when it came to the incitement against the Palestinian, his father. So he was born in a place, in a home that is day and night battling and inciting against the Palestinian. So yes, he had his own interest, of course, to continue this war and not to end the war in the Middle East at large. This is not our work, of course. Today, many of the Americans themselves, even whom is in the power on the administration, start talking about he drag us to a war that is not our war. In America, not near.
So should I let's go on some, I always think of going on the upper level. If I want to evaluate something, right? Let's see it like, is it the war of de-dollarization? Is it the war of de-dollarization? De-dollarization means US want their dollar to remain in power, the currency to remain in power. China want their currency to be in power, and the small countries is going to suffer always.
All the time. War means that some people will going to benefit.
Right. Because
100%.
Russia, Iran, and China share the same.
But Russia was benefited from this war.
Yes,
the
yes.
recent battle, I mean, because
That's what I'm saying. It benefit.
no, but Russia did not mean that I'm not a British. Sure, I will not go to defense. It's not part of its interest, of course, because any destruction for them, the nuclear facilities in Iran will going to affect Russia and the whole entire neighbor. We should not go in this type of discussion, but when it came to Israel, we know that Israel and the current Israeli Prime Minister and the current government have their own messianic agenda that is motivating them to go to the war. And of course, in America, there is a lot of people whom is, not a lot of people, some companies was benefited and gained billions of dollars from this war and will gain. There is a lot of contract already signed for billions of dollars. They will going to start implementing this contract in the nearest future.
You were telling me about the story of Bhagat Singh, and when they got executed, there were 3 other people you mentioned. I really want to know about that part also.
Yes, you mean the great martyr. We cannot say just Bhagat Singh. We
Yes.
should call him the great martyr Bhagat Singh. And his 2 colleagues, of course. Just 11 months before Bhagat Singh, the same exact ones that whom executed and hanged to death Bhagat Singh and his colleagues, hanged to death another 3 Palestinians called Muhammad Jamjoon, Fuad Hijazi, and Atazir, because they accused of being terrorists, because they copy Bhagat Singh, because they resist the British colonization at that time in Palestine. So the same exact issue. Up to date, let me just tell you something that will surprise you. United Kingdom, the British, when they had been here as a colonizer of India, they developed a special law. I did not remember the exact law that allowed them to jail the Indian people without a trial and without accusation. I mean, he can jail you because he have or he skeptical that you will resist or consist some type of, or you will going to conduct some time of resistance called the administrative detention. The same exact law, the British law is still used in Palestine up to date by Israel. It's the same exact law, nothing more, nothing less. They inherited it from the British mandate and they still use it up to date. Thousands of Palestinians is in the Israeli jail right now due to the administrative detention that the administrative detention law or measures that was adopted and exercised in India before long time ago, before even the establishment of Israel.
Do we also share some good history, India and Palestine?
Absolutely, a lot of history between India and Palestine.
Any anecdote you want?
Hundreds of years ago, one of the Indian Muslim pilgrimage came to Jerusalem, and he established special place. He built a special place in the holy place in Jerusalem. It is up to date still there, called Az-Zawiya al-Hindiya, and it is provide a lot of service to the Palestinian people since that time. In 1917, India, unfortunately, of course, and the Indian soldier was part of the British colonial army, which came to occupy Palestine and succeeded to occupy Palestine. In 1917, one of the very famous battle was called Haifa battle, when United Kingdom, British at that time, occupied Haifa city. Part of that soldier was Indian soldier, more than 900 soldier, Indian soldier whom was killed during the First and the Second World War in Palestine and buried up to date in Palestine. Mid-1930s, India and the Indian people helped the Palestinian people revolution against the British mandate at that time. 1947, India, under the great leader of Mahatma Gandhi, voted against the partition plan of Palestine. India in mid-1970, one of the very first country to recognize the state of the PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization, as the sole and legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. India also 1988, one of the very first non-Arab and non-Muslim country to recognize the state of Palestine that declared by Yasser Arafat in Algeria. Since we signed Oslo Accord, India was with us in West Bank, in Gaza, with a lot of projects. India used to, still, and I'm pretty sure will continue to support the Palestinian cause.
What do you think today? Because now, what do you think? India is balancing it well, or is it?
No, I'm not in the position you are talking to the Palestinian ambassador, so that I'm not a political commentator, so that, but all the time we used to say that India have its own leverage. India, by the end of the day, India is the biggest democracy. India is 1.4 billion human being. India with a rich history. India 3,300,000 square kilometer. So India is India. And we look to India not only as a big brother, but we look to India to, and we believe that India have a lot of leverage that if it is utilized, fully utilized, with all the challenges that we know that India is facing it, but if India utilizes it is leverage on the Israeli side and the Palestinian side, it can be a game changer.
Even you told me this thing also, if we talk about India, that people reaction in India was very different to Palestinian cause. A lot of Muslims are seeing it as because of shared religion angle rather than on a ground scale as a human angle. And I think more than Hindus are watching it as understanding what is the root problem on ground.
Well, let me explain this, because many is trying to say, or the Zionist movement succeeded to portray this cause or the Palestinian question as Muslim versus Jew, which is not true at all. And we have our argument in this regard when it came, whether it is Muslim versus Jew. Absolutely, it's not Muslim versus Jew. Many of our leaders is Jewish people. Many of our very prominent figure whom is defending the Palestinian question is Jewish and Israeli. Also, many of our leaders are Christians. But it happened that the Palestinian people is 97% of us as Muslims. So it is appeared to be like Muslim versus Jew when it came to the majority, but this is not the case. Let us remember 100 years ago, or in
It was the same fabric.
In 1857, the first revolution that the Indian launched against the British mandate, British colonization. It was Hindus people. Yes, it was Hindus versus against whom is launched this war, but it was not Hindus against Christian at that time, because the vast majority, the fabric of the Indian society, the vast majority of you is Hindus people. So that when it came to the percentage speaking, it will appear that the vast majority of them is Hindus. But absolutely, it was not Hindus against Christian. It was Indian people against British colonization. It's the same exact issue in the case of Palestine. But again, many, unfortunately, around the world still believe that this is the case. And this is because we did not have the chance to appear in the screens and to tell our story. And the Zionist movement succeeded to build this in many, or to brainwash the whole many of the international community, especially where you're going to find, we should be very frank, there is an Islamophobia that spread around the world. And when it came to Islamophobia, who have this, who are diagnosed of being this, having an Islamophobia, once you say Muslim versus anyone, he will align himself with the other one directly, since this is against the Muslim. Yes, we receive a lot of support from the Muslim, but when it came to India, to be very frank, the vast majority of the support that I personally used to receive, it is not, of course, by the end of the day, I'm not going to divide, but from the Indian people at large, I cannot say whether they are Muslim or not Muslim, but the Indian people is strongly supporting us in general, and many of them is fully aware of the Palestinian question. Let us remember that Mahatma Gandhi, and I will not going to call him up according to his religion, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and up today, whom is supporting the Palestinian question, the leaders of India, in the United Nations and others. It's not related to religion at all.
My second last question. What could be the solution? Because at the end of the day, we have to look for the
It's
solution.
easy. Anyone asking me, it's easy. Peace. Solution is peace. Justice.
Then
The question is how to.
how? That's
Okay,
kind of the
but
question.
when you say what is the solution is peace. Peace and justice.
Even
Not more than that.
But
But
how
the
is-
question, how
how
to.
is also very important at the same time.
Yeah, this is very important. This is the question, not the solution. The solution is the international law, peace, justice, not more than that. The agreed resolution. What did we agree? What did we sign it with the Israeli? They themselves sign it. Not we, not we alone. We acknowledge, we recognize the state of Israel and the existence of a state of Israel and the right of Israel to exist. And they recognize the PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization, as the sole and legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. We accept to build our state, and I would like to stress on that. We accept the Palestinian to build our state in only 22% of our historical land. Let me repeat it. We, the Palestinian, accept to build our state in only 22% of our historical land. It's our historical land. 100%. We still have the title deeds, the official title deeds. Israel, up to date, is managing our property by special law. They created it in 1950s, called absentee property law. All our property in Palestine, my family property is managed by Israel by special law called absentee property law. So we accept to build our state in only 22% of our historical land. This is the exact sacrification for peace. But how to reach the peace? This is the question. By implementing the international law, by accepting the two-state solution, by stopping the inflammatory rhetoric that they day and night in Israel is educating their children, feeding their children with this inflammatory rhetoric about the Palestinian and the Arab and the Muslim. This is very important. Incitement should be stopped. They should start creating a new generation in Israel believe of the two-state solution. None of the Israeli today, vast majority, I remove the word not. But the vast majority of the Israel is not believing of our right to exist in our homeland. We should be expelled. Mid-1980s, one of the Israeli fanatic person called Kahana was elected to be a member of the Israeli Knesset. When he came to deliver his first speech, none of the Israeli members was stand to listen to him. All of them was left the Knesset while he took the floor to deliver his first speech. Today, whom is guiding Israel is the descendant, the believer of Kahana, whom is the vast majority of the Israeli Knesset, the Israeli parliament, is Kahana student. This is the shift that happened to the Israeli society. How to reach the peace? Likewise, how we, as international community, defeated the apartheid regime in Africa, when only Israel and the United States of America was the only two states to back the apartheid regime. The international community stand strong, united to defeat it. They did not defeat it by military, but they boycotted. It's time to boycott Israeli occupation. It's the exact time to stop treating Israel as the spoily and the grumpy teenager. It's the exact time to start saying no one of the settlers should enter our homeland. There is no one will going to have dual citizen, to be a settler then American. It's very important. We will not import any single piece of product from the Israeli settlement. It should be bankruptcy. The Israeli settlement should not benefiting the settlers themselves. We will not as international community accept any settler to use our airports. People. All of those whom is day and night baruting and declaring a war crimes against the Palestinian people, once they will arrive to our land, we will going to jail them. We will going to, at that time, if the international community came united with a very peaceful, economic, legitimate, legal tools and legal measures, Israel will withdraw from West Bank and Gaza, and the peace and security will come to the whole entire world, in particular in the Middle East.
It has been done in the past also.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
remember.
1956.
Right.
When
one
United
phone call.
Kingdom, France, and Israel launched a war against Egypt. Israel occupied Gaza at that time and Sinai Peninsula.
Just one call.
It took the American president, I think, I stand to remember his name. It took him just one phone call. To whom? To the Prime Minister of Israel. Who was the Prime Minister of Israel at that time? The godfather of Israel, Ben-Gurion. Tonight, we should withdraw. It was happened one night. One night. It took him one night.
I know.
You know what? Sinai Peninsula, 3 times bigger than the historical land of Palestine. He withdrew in one night. One call phone. But there is a will.
There's a way.
Now, out.
How can two countries who have nuclear weapon, already US and Israel, can launch a war against Iran, who has already signed, is a signatory, if I'm not wrong, to the NPT?
Yes.
Which is nuclear
non-proliferation.
Non-proliferation. Yes. And these two countries are not, as far as I'm sure.
This is a farce. This is a black comedy. When both of US and United States of America and Israel, one of its goal behind the war to declare that we want Iran to prevent Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Really, this is the exact meaning of a black comedy. This is a farce, rudeness, you can call it anything, but not right. Because both of them is a nuclear country. United States of America is the only nuclear country that use the nuclear weapons. Again, it's the Japanese. It's not a secret.
Yeah,
it's a fact. Israel is a nuclear country that is not signing the NPT agreement or the non-proliferation nuclear weapons.
Just signed by Iran.
Iran is signed.
Right.
Not only this. The supreme leader, the Iranian supreme leader who was assassinated, targeted
Ayatollah Khomeini,
had issued long time ago a clear fatwa. Fatwa in Islam mean red line. You cannot cross it. Fatwa mean the end of the game. He issued a fatwa that called for the Iranian not to have a nuclear weapons. It's prohibited. According to the Islam, it's prohibited. According to him, it's prohibited. This mass destruction weapons, it's prohibited. The one who assassinated him is 2 nuclear weapon countries. One of them used the nuclear weapons already. The other is not
signing
a signatory of non-NPT agreement. And accuse and killing the one who was issued a fatwa not to have nuclear weapons. Is this the comedy or the black comedy? Yes, it's a black comedy. It's a farce. It's misery. It's rudeness. It's anything, but of course not logic.
So before closing, what do you want to say? Whatever you want to say to our audience, your stage is all yours.
Oh, thank you so much indeed, dear Ankit, of course, with all your distinguished team who's coming here today to my office.
Any last message you want to deliver to the audience?
Yes, I'm gonna deliver one message. I used to tell the people, don't support us. Just listen to us. We have a story. And real story. Don't support us. Just listen to us. Give us the chance to tell our story. We are not sure. And Keith, we are not short of logic. We are not short of history. We are not short of international law. We are not short of the stories. We are not short of anything. Just the only thing that we are short of it is to have the chance to appear in the screens and in the main screens, and I mean it, to have the chance to appear in the media to tell our story. Not only this, I'm ready and willing to counter anyone the Israeli ambassador and or any of his supporter to come in a live stream debate in any university. All the questions should be articulated by him. Live stream debate. And all the audience should be his supporter also. With all the very tough questions. And we are ready. You are not short of argument. I'm ready. Give us the chance. Listen to us. Thank you so much, India. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.